Good evening. Today I'm going to take into account the output or okay, the output costing or single unit costing. When you go for the single unit costing or output costing, it is just similar to that of cost sheet. And here we'll take into account only not only the total cost of a product, but also we'll take into account the cost per unit. Here, that is the difference that we come across between the cost sheet and the output costing. In costing, in rare circumstances, we will go for cost per unit, but here it is not like that. Here, we have to take into account the total cost as well as unit cost at every stage, taking into account with the various elements, okay, various components, everything will take into account and we will calculate what is the cost per unit. And here you'll come across the units produced. Okay, here you'll come across the units produced, and whatever it may be the components and whatever it may be the elements divided by that number of units, automatically you'll come across the cost per unit. Okay, fine. Now one by one I'm going. This is a method of costing by the units of production. Okay, this is a method of costing by units of production. That is, we will give much importance for the units of product. How many units of product we are manufacturing? How many units of products they are the manufacturers or the producers they are manufacturing? We will take into account that thing. This is adopted where production is continuous and the units produced are identical. Mind it. Here the production is continuous and the products, whatever it may be, they are identical. Okay. There won't be any different products. Same identical products you'll come across. Now, after that, the system of costing is adapted when an undertaking is engaged in producing one type of product or okay a few grades of the same product. Okay, when it this system when it is when we are going for when it is followed when a single product is produced, that is only one product place, you won't come across multi products, only one product only you will come across. And when we are producing one unit sorry one product, okay, then only this output costing or single unit costing it is to be followed. And another thing is it a few grades of the same product. Here the product will not change. Only the grades only they will change. Whenever the grades of a product when they are changing, when they are different, then only this method of costing is to be adopted. Okay. What are the industries where this costing is applied? First one is collieries. Second one is brick kilns. Brick brick kilns. Next, breweries, sugar mills, cement works, etc. At these places only you will come across this unit costing or output costing. Okay. Now, what are the units cost? How the unit cost is measured? The unit cost is the unit in which production is measured, like per ton of coal, 100 bricks per 100 bricks, per 100 bricks, and per I mean, pounds of paper. So whatever it may be the measurement of the product, in that only this product is to be measured or this costing is to be considered. Next, here you have to take into account first of all the elements, that is materials, whatever we learn, materials, labor, and overheads. All the three things we have to take into account. Then only we have to go further. Okay, materials. Materials are purchased from time to time. Okay, cost of raw materials consumed is calculated as follows. You see, we will purchase materials. Okay, purchasing of materials is different. Will purchase materials from time to time. That is different. But here what is the raw material, what is the cost of raw materials consumed, we have to give importance for that. And when you want to know the value of the or cost of raw materials consumed or value of raw materials consumed, there is a formula for that. So that formula we have to adapt over here. So what is that? Cost of raw materials consumed is equal to opening stock of raw materials plus purchase of raw materials minus closing stock of raw materials. Okay, this is the formula to calculate the cost of raw materials consumed. Okay, as far as materials is concerned, we have to take that thing into account. Next, normal loss of raw materials is adjusted by inflating the issue of prices by adjustment of I mean inflating the issue price of raw materials. What is the issue price of raw materials we have to take into account, and whatever it may be the normal loss we will adjust in that. Okay, we will adjust in that. Okay, for example, when you are purchasing a raw material, say for example sugar cane. So in that sugar cane, if you come across some normal loss, that will be adjusted in the inflating of issue of prices. Okay, that is the main thing that we have to color is coal. When you extract the raw coal and when you are loading that or when you are unloading that or when you are bringing that, some coal will become powder. Okay, so that is nothing but a unavoidable loss. That is nothing but normal loss. So this normal loss, it is adjusted in the issue price of the raw materials. That is the main thing that you have to take into account. Next comes the labor. Now when you take into labor, when you go for labor, you'll come across two types of labor. I already told you that we'll come across direct labor and indirect labor. These two things are compulsory wherever it may be. Wherever it may be, these two things are compulsory: direct labor and indirect labor. So when you take into account the direct labor, we'll charge the direct labor to directly to the production, that is where the production is. A difference is to be made between direct labor and indirect labor. Direct labor costs are collected periodically for each section of the work. For each section of the work. That means I told you that we have to take into account directly to in the process of production. That is periodically. Periodically for each section of the work. So it is to be collected. Now what about indirect labor? Indirect labor forms part of the factory overheads. Forms part of the factory overheads. When you are going for factory, okay, this indirect labor, it is nothing but a part and parcel of the factory cost. So this is about labor. Now coming to overheads. When you go for overheads, already I had given the classification of overheads. Okay, you will come across three categories of overheads: factory overheads, factory overheads. Factory overheads are those overheads which we will come across in factory premises. In the factory premises, whatever it may be, the overheads that we come across, we'll call them as factory overheads. Second one is office and administration overheads. Okay, whatever it may be the expenses, whatever it may be the overheads that you come across in the office premises, when you are going for administration and office premises, whatever it may be, the overheads that we come across, we'll call them as office and administration overheads. Next, third one is selling and distribution overheads. Okay, after completion of production, we won't keep the products in our godowns or in the factory. We have to send the products to the market area or marketplace. So when you want to send them, some expenses compulsory you have to oblige, you have to take into account. So those things are nothing but the selling and distribution overheads. Like this, you'll come across three categories, and all the three categories we will come across when we are going for this output costing or unit costing. Okay, these are divided into three categories: factory overheads, office and administration overheads, and selling and distribution overheads. Overheads are charged at a predetermined rate. Okay, you one thing you have to keep in mind is that they are charged at a predetermined rate. You should not take into account the present rate or the current rate. At a predetermined rate, you have to take into account and you have to charge. Okay, whether you go for factory overheads, okay, office and administration overheads, or selling and distribution overheads, whatever it may be. Okay, like this you'll come across. Now, when we go for this stock, okay, we are talking about this inventory, sir. What is this? Okay, and this stock, okay, you will come across whenever you go for cost accounting. Wherever you go and whenever you go for cost accounting, this stock, it will be divided into three types mainly. Okay, stock includes raw materials, work in progress, and finished goods. Like this, the inventory, it will be divided into three categories. Mind it. Okay, the inventory or the stock, it will be divided into three categories. First one is raw materials. Second one is work in progress, and the third one is finished goods. Like this, you'll come across three categories or three grades in this stock. Now, first of all, we are going for raw materials because every product, mind it, every product, it will go to raw material stage. That is from raw material stage to finished product. Okay, in the last classes of costing I had given, if you want to produce 1 kg of sugar, you have to take into account 1 ton of sugar cane. So sugar cane is the raw material over there. Sugar cane is the raw material. When you take into account the sugar cane, it is a weight losing raw material. It is weight losing raw material. Some materials, they don't lose the weight, but some materials, they have to go for loss. Okay, so weight losing material is nothing but sugar cane. Now we are going one by one. What is this raw materials? Stock of raw materials. In order to know the value of materials consumed, you have to follow the following formula. Okay, you will have some stock with you. You will purchase some raw materials, anticipating that this open, I mean, stock, whatever you are having, it is not sufficient. You will purchase the raw materials and you will go for production. And in that, some raw materials will be consumed. And again, you are having some stock with you of raw materials. So, like this, you will come across. So, you have to find out what is the value of raw materials consumed. For that, there is a formula, that is value of raw materials is equal to opening stock of raw materials plus purchase of raw materials minus closing stock of raw materials. Like this, you will come across a formula, and that formula, everyone who are going for cost accounting, they must keep in their mind. Okay, value of raw material. Once again, I'm telling you, don't think otherwise. Okay, value of raw materials consumed is equal to, okay, value of raw materials consumed is equal to opening stock of raw materials plus purchase of raw materials minus closing stock of raw materials. This is the formula that we will come across. Next, we are going for work in progress. So, what do you mean by work in process? Work in progress is nothing but part of goods produced. That's what I'm going. Okay. Work in progress means partly finished goods. Partly finished goods. They are not completely finished, please. Partly finished goods. That is, goods which are in the manufacturing process. Okay. Still, manufacturing is going on. Whatever it may be, the goods that are involved in manufacturing process, we'll call them as work in progress. Okay. The cost of work in progress consists of cost of materials consumed, direct labor paid, and proportionate part of these factory overheads, and a proportionate part of the factory overheads. These three things you'll come across when we go for work in progress. Therefore, the opening and closing stocks of work in progress are taken into consideration while computing the works cost. So, when you want to find out the works cost, you have to take into account what is the opening stock of work in progress and what is the closing stock of work in progress. Okay, closing stock of work in progress. So for after getting the works cost, that is, you'll calculate the direct materials, direct labor and direct expenses, you'll add that, you'll get prime cost. For that prime cost you have to add the factory overheads. After adding factory overheads, you should not come to a conclusion that it is nothing but works cost. You have to see whether work in progress is there or not, opening balance as well as closing balance. When you are having opening balance of work in progress as well as closing balance of work in progress, what we have to do? To the works cost, you have to add opening balance of work in progress and you have to deduct closing balance of work in progress. Then only you will get the actual works cost or factory cost. Okay, that thing only you have to take into account. You should not take the previous one. So that thing you have to keep in mind. Okay, sometimes the stock of work in progress is valued at prime cost. Sometimes in some problems they will go for the calculation of work in progress, okay, basing on the prime cost. So in that case, in such a case, an adjustment for working in progress should be made at the stage of prime cost only, but don't go for works cost. At the stage of prime cost only you have to make an adjustment. Okay, and whatever it may be the stage, okay, whatever it may be the stage, you have to keep that in your memory, that an adjustment of opening and closing stocks also you have to take into account. And opening stock of, okay, work in progress you have to add, and closing stock of work in progress you have to deduct. Next, stock of finished goods. So, what is this stock of finished goods, sir? Okay, finished goods means already produced goods or manufactured goods. We'll call them as finished goods. Okay, stock of finished goods. This is also a part and parcel of the stock. So, stock of finished goods. An adjustment for stock of finished goods is made after calculating cost of production. Okay, so what you'll do is you'll take into account the prime cost, you'll add the works expenses or factory overheads or factory expenses, you'll come across works cost or factory cost, and to that you have to add the office and administration overheads. Then only you'll come across cost of production. But that cost of production is not the correct one. When it is not correct, when you come across opening balance of finished goods and closing balance of finished goods, then it is not to be treated as the actual cost of production. So what we have to do, to that cost of production you have to add opening stock of finished goods and you have to deduct closing stock of finished goods. Then only then only you will come across cost of goods sold. Okay, cost of goods sold. And to this cost of goods sold you have to add selling and distribution overheads. Then only you will come across cost of sales. And after adding or deducting the profit you will come across the sales. So one thing you have to keep in mind is cost of sales is different and sales is different. Okay, when sales are more than cost of sales, it is nothing but profit. When cost of sales is more than sales, it is nothing but loss. So, first of all, you have to derive cost of goods sold. How you will get that? Okay, cost of goods sold is equal to opening stock of finished goods plus cost of production minus closing stock of finished goods. Then only you will get cost of goods sold. Okay, like this you will come across the various contents of that unit or output costing. Now, how to show this? You can show in any manner. You can show in cost sheet manner or you can show that in production account manner. Okay, in both the ways you can show. The thing is, okay, the thing is you have to observe when we go for cost sheet, way up to what extent we have to go, and when we go for production account, up to what extent you have to go. When you are going for cost sheet, you will take into account everything, that is elements of three elements of cost. You will get prime cost, you will add works overheads, and you will come across works cost, and you have to add this office and administration overheads. Then you will come across cost of production, everything you will come across. Okay, the difference is when you are preparing the cost sheet, if you are given the previous figures, you must also take them into account. Mind it, you must also take them into account. Sir, why we have to take the previous year's figures and current year figures? To compare the previous year production or the previous year figures with that of current year. Thereby, you can be in a position to detect the inefficiency and wastage, where the inefficiency occurred and where the wastage occurred. How far we can reduce these inefficiency and wastage, you can be in a position to assess. That's why some people they'll go for cost sheet, and some people they'll go for production account. Whatever it may be, both the things belongs to output costing or single unit costing. Both the things you can produce. Now, when you go for production statement is nothing but a statement. Production account is nothing but an account or a statement. Okay, which shows the cost incurred, selling price of the goods, and profit or loss during the period. That is, in production account, okay, or in production statement, whatever it may be, it is also nothing but a statement. You will come across what is the total cost incurred, what is the selling price of the product, and what is the profit or loss that we come across. Okay, when we are going for this unit costing or output costing. And you may ask me, sir, why we have to go for this unit costing or output costing? What is the purpose of that? Here the purposes are two. First one is you can be in a position to know the cost per unit at every stage, at prime cost stage, at factory cost stage, at cost of production stage, at cost of sales stage. You can be in a position to know the cost per unit. Thereby, you will come to know about the profit per unit as well as selling price per unit. Okay, that is a first purpose that we come across. The second purpose is very, very important purpose. That is you can go for estimates, or you can go for estimates, you can go for tenders, and you can quote the price. Okay, tender is different and quotation is different. Tender means, okay, basing upon these things, okay, get an order how to get an order, and what are the changes that we have to make, whether any changes are there or not. If there are no changes, at what percentage we have to take into account the expenses basing upon the previous cost sheet. Okay, that is, and getting the cost of production. All that thing is nothing but the tender. And quotation means when you want to give to any other person, then you have to take into account the cost of production and what is the profit that you are anticipating, and thereby the selling price of that product. So, in order to go for tenders and quotations or estimates, whatever it may be, this unit costing or output costing is more helpful. When we go for single or output costing, one thing you have to keep in mind is, okay, you have to take the percentage of expenditure whatever you incurred. Basing upon that percentage, you are going to prepare the tenders or quotations. With this, I'm stopping, and next class